You know what I'd say? Stop acting like a Christian then. Because that's exactly what you're doing. You are acting. You are being nothing. And this is going to hurt. It's going to sting. This isn't going to get me any fans in this room. But you are being nothing like Jesus, so way to go. That doesn't feel good. I know that hurts real bad. It's like, oh, I'm going to go crawl in a hole and die now. But guess what? You are being nothing like Christ when you do that. And I've been there. Since I've been a pastor. So don't think like, but you're a pastor, so you're like a professional Christian. It's kind of what it is, I guess. But here's the deal. You're being nothing like Jesus. I'm telling you to sell out. And right now you're sold out to all the other junk and the crap that we sell out to when Jesus is saying, you can't be like me and hate that person. Yeah, but Pastor Jonathan, you don't know what they've done to me. You know what I'd say? It's going to hurt again. I don't care. Ooh. You know why? You want to know why? Because I guarantee you it's not as bad as what they did to Jesus. And he was on a cross dying, as Roy was just talking about. His hands were stretched out, nails were driven in, he was spit upon, he was mocked, he was beaten, he was stabbed. And he said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. And this girl talks bad about us at lunch, and we're like, I hope you die. And you guys say, but you've all said it.
That's terrible.
It's true. You're right. Except for look around. They've all said it. I can't stand that girl. I can't stand that guy. I mean, let's be honest here. And I'll be the first. I'll say I've done it. Who's ever wished something bad would happen to somebody? Don't lie. This is church. Don't lie, church. Guess what? It's ridiculous that we do that. I mean, and we can go as far as funny ways of doing it. I hope that quarterback just like breaks his arm right now. Oh, I may have prayed that before. If you're a sports fan, you know what I'm saying. I've seen Pastor Brian, sorry, it's hard for me to call him that. I've seen Pastor Brian get all upset about a Yankees game. Because they stink. They're awful. They're the worst team in the world. I'm just saying everything that everyone else ever wanted to tell you. Forgive me, brother. You know, because I didn't know what I did. I was at the game when we struck out A-Rod to go to the World Series. Oh, does that feel good? Go Rangers. All right, here we go. Hey, it's called getting there. You have to try that first. No, don't live in the past. Like, you know me when you see that? I didn't know you were going to say it. See, I'll tell you guys a little story about Brian real quick. See, he left a little part of this out. You know, he's like, hey, I went to church and Jonathan introduced me, which I really didn't know any of this stuff. Like, I had no idea that I had a big part of his life as far as him accepting Christ, which is awesome. He told me that a few months ago, and I was like, what? But he forgot to tell you the reason he really said, okay, I'll come to church to this. Well, not just girls, but he was like, I don't want to go to church. He has a bad attitude, you know, that Yankee that he was then. He talked really, really Yankee-fied, or whatever you call that. I don't even know what you call that.
Northern?
No, it was worse. The only reason he came to church was because of hot girls, is what he said. Which, for some of you guys in the house tonight, you're like, sweet, still got a chance. He met Angela. I've known her since I was 8 years old. It's a long time. For real, yeah. I'm a pastor, I don't lie. And I'll tell you guys, some of the stories you hear tonight, they're true. Okay, like some of my stories, like, you make up your stories. You make them up, don't you? Look, I can tell you stories about your pastor that I'm not going to tell you. That would make you go, is that a lie or is that true? See, what he forgot to tell you about also was that duck that you guys were, oh, the duck died. Those ducks were terrible. They smelled like death. They were mean. They pooped more than every single person at this camp will over the next few days in like an hour. They were awful. We put them in a little cage. They were like our little pet duck slaves. They were awful. What he forgot to say is Ryan, Angela's, or Dookie, as some of you guys know him as. Nickname should tell you enough. When he ran through the house, what really was happened is that duck had been dead for like 4 days. And rigor mortis had set in. If you don't know what that means, it means you're like stiff and you won't move. And he went to throw the duck into the field. Instead, it snapped in half. That's what he forgot to tell you. You look really disgusted right now. You have a duck commander hoodie on. You can't be grossed out about dead ducks. Like, real talk here. I'm friends with some of the duck commander guys. Yeah, really. And they don't get grossed out by dead ducks. You repping them, you gotta be real here. Speaking of duck commander guys, I was sitting down and having a conversation. Did anybody watch Duck Dynasty in this room? Okay, so I was sitting. If you're a Duck Dynasty fan, I was sitting in Jace's chair in the Duck Commander duck call room. And I was having a conversation with Martin from the show. And he said these words. And they're so true and they're so good. He said, if every single thing, this has just been such an incredible journey. And we were talking about, he said, I have Twitter now. And he said, I have like 600,000 followers. And the only reason I do it is because it's my avenue every day, anytime I want, to tell people about Jesus. And they just listen. He's like, it's awesome. He said, all this stuff's happened and just God's just blessed the show and all these different things. He said this was so awesome. You know what? Because these dudes are legit, okay? I've been around them. They're legit. They're no joke. He said these words. Martin said, if all of this left us tomorrow, if everything was gone, I wouldn't care at all. He said, because the only reason I even do this show is because he gives me an avenue for Jesus. He said, it's not about the money. It's not about any of this stuff. If everything was gone tomorrow, I'd still have Jesus. And that is the only thing that matters in my whole life. That's what he told me. And I was sitting there in the duck corner and I just looked at him and I said, dude, that's the absolute best answer you could have ever said. But why? Because he sold out. Some of us can't imagine dropping one of our friends who you shouldn't even be friends with. Or the person that you're dating who is not healthy for you. Had a conversation the other day with a young man who said, he called me at 10:30 and I said, I'm at my breaking point. I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, where are you? He said, I'm driving around. I said, why are you driving around? He said, because I told my parents I'm done, packed bags, and left my house. I said, time out. So you're homeless. You have nowhere to stay. You're homeless right now. Okay, let's rewind here a second. Why did we just find ourselves here? Because of these decisions and these people you've hung out with. And I said, I told you before you left town, because he just did a military school, I said, and he was totally changed in this school. Like all kind of stuff. Dusty knows the guy I'm talking about when I say this. And he came back, he was different. But he hung out with the same people. He did the same things. Guess what? He's the same person, but even worse. Because he knew, I don't need to be around these people, but he did anyways. If you're going to sell out for Christ, we sit here and we sing songs like I Surrender, and I asked Roy specifically, sing this song tonight. You know why I had him sing that? It's because I wanted to gauge the spiritual temperature in this room to see what are these students expecting God to do. And it was funny because God was talking to me in my heart just over there, and the Holy Spirit was just speaking to me about surrendering and raising your hands, like Roy said. He said, he was literally, if he didn't say it, I was going to say that. What do you do when a cop says freeze? Just put your hands up. Why? Because it's like, hey, I surrender. No, it's all you. It's all you, dude. Why can't we say it's all you, dude, to God? Like, it's all you. Because we like to just go, God, I'll give you this much, but I want this much too. And this much I'm going to play with, but you can have the rest of my life.